Hello, this is a Piranha splash screen, and this is Gothic. But this video is not really about Gothic. It kind of is about Gothic, but it's really a follow-up to my video about Enderal. After playing Enderal and seeing all the talk online blowing it and calling it a real old-school RPG like Gothic, super Gothic-inspired real old-school RPG, got me in the mood to play an actual old RPG. And you know what? Why not Gothic? Go ahead and start the game. It's been a while since I played Gothic. This obviously is the community patch version with widescreen and gamepad support and all of that. I had nothing crazy, nothing that's changed is the design philosophy at all, which is what this video is about. The difference between the design philosophy of something like Enderal and the design philosophy of an actual old school RPG, Gothic in particular, which is the one it constantly gets compared to. And I'm going to demonstrate in 5 minutes. Actually, throw the time code up on the screen. That's the time code for this recording. 5 minutes to demonstrate why Enderal is nothing like Gothic, or really old school at all. And after that 5 minutes, I'll explain more about what I mean by that.
The war against the orcs took its toll.
This is just a video file, I can skip it. See, back then, in old school days, there weren't a whole lot of games doing in-engine cutscenes, especially ones that you could walk around during, where they pretended you were in gameplay, but really the only thing you could do is walk from point A to point B to listen to more cutscene. It was pretty much just Half-Life, maybe a couple others. But that kind of thing didn't really start to get super popular until after Half-Life 2, which was a few years after this game. But that's just a bit of a nitpick. I never expected Enderal to be exactly like an old school RPG, but my main point really is I can skip this. It's not that long, but I can still skip it, and it's really only telling me stuff that I need to know about my current situation right now with about as little backstory as you need to get started.
Corinus was now under the control of the convicts.
Just the bare essentials. Who are we? Where are we? Why are we here? And what is our purpose? Since I'm talking over it, I guess I'll give the real quick rundown. There's a war with the orcs. The humans are losing, so this king needs some magic ore, so he sets up a prison colony. But then the mages that made the barrier around the prison colony accidentally got stuck inside the barrier. And we're gonna be a new prisoner gets thrown in the barrier. And we have a quest. We have a quest that they give us.
But he would change everything.
In the name of King Robar II, bearer of the scepter of Verant, I
The dialogue's functional, it's fine, the voice acting's less so, but whatever. It's not trying to impress you though. See, Enderal was trying to impress people with its writing and dialogue, which is another way it wasn't really trying to be like Gothic, even if the creators might list Gothic as one of their inspirations, but again, I'll get more into that later.
On one condition. Spare me the rest of his nonsense.
How dare you?
Keep silent. Right. Send him in.
Welcome to the colony. That's enough. Leave him alone. And now scram. Get up.
This is Diego.
I'm Diego. I'm not interested in who you are.
He's not interested in who we are. He's mainly just here to tell us where to go next.
If you plan to stay alive for a while, you should talk to me. But of course, I won't keep you from choosing your own destruction.
We can talk to him. He has some topics to talk about. You can talk to him as much or as little as you want. The game designers didn't feel the need to nudge you into asking him specific questions with like knowledge points and stuff, collectibles in the form of talking points. And he's also not interested in philosophizing with us or describing his personal belief system and then waiting for us to agree or disagree so he can decide whether or not he liked that, with a little pop-up on my screen that says whether or not he liked that. a feature popularized by 2011's The Walking Dead, the same year Skyrim came out, huh? Really taking it back to RPG roots. But Diego's really got mostly just some pertinent information that you might want to know, and then you can end the conversation whenever you want, and he tells you where to go next.
Okay, what do I need to know about this place?
We call it the Colony. You'll know already that we produce ore for the king. Well, at least we do, in the old camp. There are 3 camps within the barrier. The old camp is the biggest, and it was the first.
Thanks for your help.
We'll meet in the old camp.
And speaking of where to go next, we're a little bit past the 5-minute mark. Since I started the game and hit record, I sat on the title screen for a little bit, and I appear to be playing the game. Huh, that's weird. This isn't a tutorial zone or anything, by the way. This is the world. This is the world you're in. I'm not stuck in a dream sequence walking around. Oh, Daddy, no. No, I didn't do it, Daddy. I only said I'd done it so they'd take the truncheon out of me bottom. No burning houses and screaming fathers in the dream sequence. No extended dialogue on a boat before a long tutorial section where you learn how to punch, followed by another long dialogue section on the top of the boat, followed by another video, followed by a dungeon. Okay, fine. That was fine. Followed by a ravine that you get stuck in. Your only quest is to find your way out. No, I'm in the world. The only thing stopping me from going anywhere I want right now is getting killed, which is apparently, because I didn't get this far in the almost 2 hours that I played Enderal, I didn't get to this point in the game. But apparently, that's basically the only thing that Enderal has in common with Gothic, other than the fact that they're both made by Germans, is that Enderal isn't level scaled. Which brings me back to the point I was holding off on. Enderal wasn't trying to be an old school RPG. I don't know if the authors were trying to make it like an old school RPG, how much they were inspired by Gothic and trying to copy, or just inspired by Gothic and trying to make their own thing with loose inspiration. I haven't read any interviews by them or anything. But regardless of what their intentions were, Enderal itself is not trying to be a game like Gothic. It is not trying to be an old school RPG. What it's trying to do is address every single one of the criticisms that are popular to levy against Skyrim without thinking about which ones are actually valid criticisms and which ones are just popular things to say, and without thinking about whether the solutions that you came up with are actually any better or not. That is everything that Enderal is doing. The reason Enderal doesn't have level scaling isn't because Gothic doesn't have level scaling. The reason Enderal doesn't have level scaling is because people always complain about Skyrim's level scaling. And while Skyrim's level scaling might be a kind of a modern design type of thing, level scaling itself isn't. Old school RPGs had level scaling. Elder Scrolls has always had level scaling since Arena. It didn't make that big of an impact in Arena because you didn't spend that much time outside of the dungeons where the enemies were level scaled, but it's been a major part of Elder Scrolls since Daggerfall in 1996. Morrowind had a form of level scaling. Oblivion is where they went off the rails with it and everybody hated it. Skyrim is where they refined it and made it so it worked for mainstream audiences, but hardcore RPG players didn't really like it. Here, I'm in the open world. I can explore. I'm picking up weapons. I got my pickaxe. I fought this little guy over here. Maybe pick up a sword over here. And then I might as well just make my way down the path that they're trying to lead me down with what Diego told me to do. It's probably the safest thing to do at this moment. And I can keep going. Skyrim always gets criticized for its writing. For pretty obvious reasons. It's there. Most of the time it's there. When it tries, it's not that good. Every once in a while, it's okay. So then in Enderal, they tried really hard to have good writing. It's too bad it doesn't have good writing. It's too bad that the oh so deep and mature themes are just another convention of modern game design, which is the game story about free will. Oh boy, what is our role in society? What if we don't actually have a choice? What if everything is just predetermined Who is a game character? What is the game character? Who's really controlling you're controlling the game character. The game character doesn't actually make choices. You make the choices. But wait a second. I'm the one, the game designer. I'm the one that makes the choices that you get to choose from. So really, who's the puppet master? Wait a second. We get back to free will. Who's making choices for me? I don't know that Enderal does all that, but it's definitely a free will story, and free will is one of the most played out themes in modern video games with or without the meta aspect. Then the leveling system, another popular thing to complain about in Skyrim for, again, obvious reasons, but this one more than any of the others really feels like the complaint and the way they address it in Enderal is coming from a place of someone who played Skyrim, experienced Skyrim, has internalized all the complaints about Skyrim's leveling system, but hasn't really played the older games. Maybe Oblivion, maybe he started Morrowind and got frustrated after 10 minutes, but there always seems to be this strong desire to remove the do thing to get better at thing system that Elder Scrolls has always had. Another thing they call modern, but it's not modern. Skyrim's implementation of it is modern. It's been a key part of the Elder Scrolls identity since Daggerfall. And this is really more of a complaint about other Skyrim mods that in people's ideas about how to fix Skyrim, where they're always like, we gotta make it like every other RPG. You get experience for quests and killing enemies, and then you spend those experiences on leveling up. And sure, I guess Enderal really doesn't want to be Skyrim. It really doesn't want to be Skyrim, so fine if it changes it. This is more of a complaint about mod authors, other ones that are still Skyrim, but they're like, no, we gotta fix the leveling system by making it generic. But what is a complaint about the way Enderal did things is another common complaint about Skyrim, which I've never understood this one, really, is the lack of a thing to do with your gold after you've broken the economy or after a few hours when you've been looting way too much and you've just got way too much gold and nothing to spend it on. Like, sure, always having something to spend your gold on, having to make choices between spending your gold on something you want and something else you want, that's obviously better than basically having an infinite gold cheat just by regularly playing the game. I understand that. But is it really that big a deal? Is it really that high on your list of priorities that you'll do anything to have something to spend gold on? Even if it's not. Like I said, it's a great choice, great game design to have to make a choice between thing A I want and thing B I want. What is not an interesting choice is, okay, I have to buy skilled books to level up. I have to level up. Leveling up is part of the gig. That's not fun game choices. That's, okay, well, obviously I have to get the thing I need. That's not a choice. I'm getting the thing I need, and I don't get to get the thing I want. If you're choosing between two things you want with your limited pool of gold, then great. Either way, you get something you want, and you just level up like normal. But once again, the Enderal developers were so concerned about addressing every little gripe that people who have put hundreds of hours into Skyrim eventually had about it, that they didn't even think about, is this really worth concerning ourselves about? And is the solution we came up with any fun at all? I could probably keep going, but it would require me to play more Enderal, and that's the last thing I want to do. But anyway, I think I've made my point. Enderal is not an old school RPG like Gothic. It's a game that's more concerned about telling its story than being a good game, a very modern game design practice, and more concerned about differentiating itself from Skyrim than having actual good systems. And here I am coming up on the first major settlement in Gothic. 14 minutes in. Would you look at that? Not 2 hours. And then maybe once I get out of this ravine, I'll finally reach the first settlement. Because old school games wanted you to play them, not watch them. I'm going to go back to playing this in my own time, having fun with it. You maybe think twice about praising a game for being old school in its design principles just because it's different from the only other RPG you've played.
You ain't come to make trouble, have you?
Diego says I'm to meet him in the camp.
Okay, in you go then.